Hello folks, it's Jay Ramey here. My name is Jay Ramey, attorney at law. I am a criminal defense attorney in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm coming to you from the Know Your Rights bunker as we speak. I've made a lot of videos about how to handle police encounters and what your rights are, and if you haven't watched all my previous videos, I would ask you or invite you to, or ask you, whatever, to go back and watch all the previous episodes. But today we're going to do something a little bit different, because 3 years ago from today, and as I record this, what is today? Today's December 12th, 2011. So as I record this, 3 years ago today, I was in what Americans say Krakow, Poland. The correct pronunciation, I believe, is Krakow. Anyway, I'll just say Krakow, because that's what we all know and how we all say it. Anyway, I was there 3 years ago today for my, I toured a whole bunch of places that were associated with the movie Schindler's List, and then I went and visited Auschwitz, and it was quite an experience. Anyway, so I did all that about 3 years ago, and then sometime subsequent to that, maybe a year later, maybe less than a year, I don't know, I made this little video of pictures and videos that I made while in Krakow and Auschwitz. So I'm going to show this is my introduction to the video. I'm going to show it at the last half or the last part of this video, because I spent, it's not anything fancy, but I spent some time putting it together, and all the pictures were either mine. I'm sorry, all the pictures were mine. The videos and pictures were mine. I mean, they were pictures I took or videos I made. Anyway, during this introduction, I want to talk a little bit about how I got so fascinated and interested in the Holocaust. You know, we all know about it. We all kind of learned about it when we were younger. I've always wondered during my life, you know, why the police in this country can be so evil and do things to people that just, you know, are just evil. You know, arresting people for drugs, kicking down on someone's door because they got a warrant for, oh my God, marijuana, killing the family dog. You know, and then once I started law school and became an attorney, and it's what I deal with every day, day in and day out, having these people come in and tell me their story and sitting over there crying about the police busting down their door and pointing guns everywhere. Fortunately, I've never had anybody who had their family dog killed, but that day's coming, I'm sure. But I was like, how can these people do this? How can these police officers, they go to court and lie, they arrest people for prostitution, they make up public drunk, they make up stuff to arrest people for because they're just hateful, evil people. And I'm like, how can they do this? And then, like I said, 3 years ago from today, I went to Auschwitz. Well, about a year before that, I went to Amsterdam, then I took some side trips from Amsterdam. And 3 years ago, this time I went to Amsterdam as well, and then I took a side trip to Poland. But anyway, about a year before I went to Poland, I went to Amsterdam, and I visited Anne Frank's house. You couldn't miss that, going there when you're in Amsterdam. And around that same time, and I can't remember if it was just before that first trip to Anne Frank's house or just after, on Netflix, it recommended a show for me to watch. And this show was called Auschwitz, the Nazi and the Final Solution. It's a 6-part documentary, and it's basically about the Holocaust overall, but it really focuses on what's going on in Auschwitz. And I watched this documentary, like I said, about 4 years ago, and since then I've probably watched the thing 6-8 times. It just fascinates me. And like I said, I was always trying to figure out how police officers in modern day America can do the things they do to it. Or like, you know, even 50 years ago, they were down there beating the crap out of Martin Luther King and his supporters and followers. They're just trying to march or go get in line to register to vote. They come out their billy sticks, beat the crap out of them. I'm like, how can the police in America do this to people? And then you watch this documentary about Auschwitz, and they had some of the people in the documentary that I'm talking about was made in 2005, and they had some of the actual people who were involved, who actually who lined Jews up and shot them. They actually interviewed some of these people, and I'm like, well, hell, it's nothing what the police in America do to us today, because there were men 70, 80 years ago, in the 1940s, late 1930s, who would line Jews up just because they're Jews? Line them up before a big pit and shoot them and kill them. Later on, they would take thousands of them, shove them into a gas chamber, pour the Zyklon B in, and kill them. And I'm like, what the police do to us is nothing. And so I'm like, what my fascination became, and I will never figure this out, but how can people do this? Including what police do to us here today, and what the SS did to the Jews back in the 1940s. How can they do this? And again, that's my fascination. So I've watched that documentary 6-8 times, and then that documentary got me reading all kinds of books. In the past 3 years or 4 years, I've only read books about the Holocaust. Every once in a while I'll throw in another book that's about something else, but like I just finished reading a book about Adolf Eichmann's trial in Jerusalem, I think in 1960 something. I don't know. Anyway, I've just become fascinated by this, trying to figure these guys out. How can they do this? And the police who do things to us today, like kicking in our doors. In fact, I got a video. This would be a good time to show the video. This video was made a couple years ago in Missouri. Police got a search warrant. Oh my God, horrors, marijuana. They got information of some young guy was selling marijuana. His wife and kid are in the house. They come kicking down the door like it's just, it's the SS just brought 70, 80 years later. These guys are just the SS. That's what they want to be. That's not what they want to be. That's what they are. And if they could get away with it, they would do what the SS did to the Jews back in the 40s. They would do that to marijuana smokers. They would do that to Mexicans. They would do that to people of the Islamic faith. If they could get away with it, they would do that. But let's watch this video. It made all the rounds back after it happened. But let's watch this video of the modern day SS in action.
Columbia Police search warrant! Columbia Police search warrant! Take it up. Get to the door. Go. Get to the door. Police department, don't move! Police department, don't move! Police department, don't move! Police department, don't move!
Need one. I need one.
Slow it down. Get past me. Move past him. Move past him. Come on, guys. You're fine. Somebody turn around. Stay around. Don't move. You understand? Put your hands behind your back. Do it now. Behind your back. I'm with you. Let's go.
I got him.
You got him. Good. Hold on. Police department, don't move. You got another injured one. Move. Coming through. Coming through.
Injured one what?
Do not move.
What's
Don't
injured?
move.
What is happening?
Don't move.
God. What is happening?
Search warrant. Narcotic search warrant. Don't
Fine,
move.
search. I don't care. Fuck. Why gotta be like this? Fine. Please don't hurt my dogs. Please, they're nice dogs. Please, they're
Coming
nice
at you.
dogs.
Leave the dog alone. We're good. Let's get him secure. He's in handcuffs. Up to your knees. Stand up.
What the fuck is that?
Turn around right here. Don't move.
Secondary.
What's your name?
I want a secondary.
John.
John what?
Let's go.
I want a lawyer.
Okay. John, what's your name?
I'd like a lawyer.
I have the right to know your name.
I have a right to an attorney.
Okay, you do. What do you want?
You ain't doing wrong.
Okay.
You go money off out of my house. What the fuck did I do?
Columbia 821.
What the fuck did I do? Did you shoot? Did you shoot my dog? You shot my fucking dog! Oh my god! My dog is nose and eyes!
So there you go, folks. Kicking in the door, terrorizing a family, killing their family dog. Oh my God, because we got a search warrant for marijuana. Oh my God, they're Jewish. I mean, that video we just watched, that looks like the liquidation of a ghetto. 1940, Poland, when they came and got the Jews to take them off to a concentration camp. It looks so similar to that. So anyway, I'm trying to, again, I will never figure this mindset out, but it's fascinating. It just fascinates me that there's men who will do this to people. It fascinates me today there are men that will do what we just saw in that video. It fascinates me there were men who would do what they did to the Jews in the 1940s, and I don't see any difference between them. There is no difference. We have limited rights in our country now that prohibits police officers from going over the line as far as actually killing people, although they do kill people every once in a while and get away with it, make up some excuse. But as far as mass murder, as far as putting people in gas chambers, stuff like that, they can't get away with that yet, but it could happen again. What we see, what we saw during the Holocaust, it could happen again. Anyway, I didn't want to show something, when I show the video here in a minute that I made, you'll see that I'm outside the old synagogue, and it's now a museum, and they had a little museum shop in there, and I bought this little menorah. I bought this 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago, and getting a good workout because I always put the candles in it every year. I break it out every year with my Christmas decorations, and I always put the little candles in and burn them during each night of Hanukkah. But it's nothing fancy, nothing special, but I enjoy this as a memory of something I got there in the old synagogue in Krakow, Poland. So a lot of people notice I talk a lot about the Holocaust, and I also do stuff like burn the menorah, because before my trip to Auschwitz in Krakow 3 years ago, I went to the synagogue. There's a synagogue by my house. I just walked in there one day and said, "Can I come to one of your services? Because I want to learn more about the Jewish religion, because I'm going to go to this place where so many of these people were killed." So I went, and I kind of liked it, and I've been going back. I go back every once in a while. I went to the big Hanukkah celebration a couple nights ago. In my experience with going to the synagogue, it just kind of brings everything all around full circle. Of course, I've known Jewish people before, but when you go to the synagogue and you take part in the religious ceremony, and they're all Jewish there, you're like, why would anybody want to mass murder these people? What's it? They're just people. They're just people like all the rest of us. Why? I don't know. It's like asking, why would police officers kick in a door, kill the family pet, terrorize the little kid and the mother over marijuana? Why would they do that? And I know someone's going to come, well, you're comparing the modern day brave police officers to the SS. Yeah, I am. Yes. They got the exact same mindset. They're going to go kick in a door for marijuana. They're going to go kick in a door and round up the Jews because they're Jews. It makes no sense. And I know I'm starting to repeat myself. I have been doing that on these videos. But that's what's so fascinating to me about the Holocaust and learning about these guys. Because I'm trying to figure out, and I'll never figure it out, but I'm trying to figure out, how could they do this? A lot of these guys had like advanced degrees, especially some of the leaders. Some of them were doctors, or I don't know about, well, I mean, there were some medical doctors like Joseph Mengele, who did just evil stuff. But I'm talking about, there was people with PhDs, people with law degrees, who were in the upper levels of the SS. They would go to the opera, they'd go to the symphony, and then they go home and they the next day and kill people. Well, and I didn't want to say this. I know this is getting long, and I'll cut it off here in a minute, and we'll watch the video I made. This Auschwitz documentary I was talking about. They have modern day interviews with people living in 2005 when the documentary was made. They have old pictures, and they have reenactments, and they have the commander Auschwitz, and they have a reenactment of what it might have been like in 1943 or whatever. So what I found was fascinating in the documentary. They show, it's a reenactment of the camp commandant of Auschwitz going to his home. It was right there on the corner of Auschwitz. He'd be going home, and his wife and kids were there, and they'd show him reading books to his kids and playing with his kids. Of course, I mean, this is just reenactment, but I'm sure this is, we all can just imagine this is what would happen. You go home to your wife and kids after you after you've killed thousands of people that day. I don't know. I just, it blows my mind. And one more thing I'd like to say is that my trip to Auschwitz, I went to Krakow and visited all the sites that are associated with Schindler's List, because that's the first part of Schindler's List, the movie. It all takes place there in Krakow, and then they move his factory to Czechoslovakia during the last part of the movie. Anyway, so I saw a whole bunch of sites associated with Schindler's List the first day or two. The last day there, I went to Auschwitz, and I tell you, it was quite an experience. I was like disturbed. I was really disturbed by the trip, and and I always make fun of myself. I always go on these vacations where I go to these places where terrible things happen, and I don't know why it is, but like I said, I'm just interested in going to these places. I'm trying to figure out how these men tick. Anyway, I came back from that trip for about 2 months. I just felt, I don't know, like a cloud hanging over me, just kind of depressed. I mean, I will never be the same after going to Auschwitz. I mean, you can read about it, and I've read all about it, but when you go there, when you're actually there and you're walking down this road leading to the gas chamber, and you're thinking, there's about 1 million people that walk down this road before I came there, going straight to the gas chamber because of police officers just doing their job. And the SS were a type of police. They were police officers. They didn't have a badge, but they had the gun, they had the uniform, they had the insignia of a government official killing people, enforcing the law. And some of them would say, just doing my job so I could put food on the table of my family. And one final thing I will say about the documentary Auschwitz, it has some great music in it. The music you hear right now that started at the beginning of the video, that comes from the documentary. The music I put to the video I put together that I'm going to show here in a minute, that's from Schindler's List. And then the music you'll hear during the closing credits is also music from the documentary Auschwitz, the Nazis and the Final Solution. And I love the way that documentary puts this sad music with the mood of what they're showing on the screen at the time. It just, I don't know, it's just the way they put that documentary together is great. My documentary that we're going to watch now, I don't know if it's as great. Well, I know it's not as great as what the BBC made. And I don't know if I said it, this Auschwitz, the Nazis and the Final Solution, it was made by the BBC. And you can find it on Netflix. PBS has a whole page devoted to it. You can find all kinds of information about it. If you want to go watch it, you can order it from Amazon. If you don't have Netflix, anyway, you can find this video. So the bottom line is, if you want to find the video, Auschwitz, the Nazis, and the Final Solution, it's easy to find. Netflix, Amazon. I even think you can probably watch it on YouTube. It can be found. It's interesting. You learn a lot, but kind of, you'll walk away just feeling kind of depressed and empty, and it's not a joyful thing to watch. But anyway, so let's get right to my video. And again, these are all pictures and videos that I made during my trip 3 years ago. I was getting ready to say, I hope you enjoy it. I don't know if enjoy is the correct word, but I just at least hope you find it interesting and educational. All right, we'll see you on the next episode of Know Your Rights. Hello folks, I'm here at, I don't know if I can pronounce it right, Plajov concentration camp. The concentration camp that was shown in Schindler's List. There's nothing here now except a few monuments. It's pretty much just open fields. There's a monument here. There's a couple other smaller monuments down the way that I looked at, but other than that, there's really nothing here. It's, as I understand, the Nazis tore it all down, and I guess it's been left here since, except for these monuments. So we're about an hour away from Auschwitz, where I will go tomorrow. I went to the synagogues today in the old Jewish quarter, and we went to Schindler's factory. We just finished there. Now we're here. Again, there's not much to see here. Just a couple monuments. But it's been a heck of a day and a heck of a learning experience. Hello folks. It's getting dark here in Poland. It's 3:30 p.m. but it gets dark here early. Anyway, my guide, this was the first place she brought me today. It used to be a synagogue, but now it's just a museum, a Jewish museum. But anyway, what she told me, this wall right behind me here, is Nazis shot people right here. Lined them up against that wall and killed them right there. That's just something else when you think about it. Right behind where I'm standing, the Nazis lined people up and shot them. There's a little monument over here. I guess to the people. She quickly mentioned earlier, and I didn't film this earlier. That's why we were kind of in a hurry and we went inside. But she told me this was a monument to the people who had been shot. Right here in this wall, right behind me. It's something else when you think about it. We're here at the memorial in Birkenau. I got the two rocks. One's mine, one's Dennis Roberts. Came all the way from Oklahoma. We'll leave right here. There's Dennis's rock.